Going on YouTube, Northeast Ohio Sports Cards. Here for some NBA talk. I know we've been on a little Marvel tangent there for a while. We're swing back on to the good old NBA. Talk some Zion today. You guys know the drill down below. Like, comment, sub. And we'll be in Market Movers today, pretty much exclusively. Links to that are down below, along with the coupon code, which is still going. And let's get into it. So I was doing some research into good old Zion. And as we all know, his modern prices have been getting hammered, but most modern has been getting hammered, as we discussed in a video last week. Hammered might be too strong of a word, but there's definitely a pullback in the modern market as money shifts to vintage / legends / Hall of Famers / future Hall of Famers. The LeBrons, the Jordans, the KGs, the Shaqs, the Kobes, etc., the Duncans, the Robinson, all those guys are going up, regardless of sport. And the modern guys, with the exception of a few, are definitely seeing a price decrease. So the curious thing about Zion, and not just about Zion, but just in general, what I was curious about, and the point of this video is I wanted to see of the main stuff: Prism, Select, Optic. I'm throwing Mosaic in as number 4. Did they all decrease equally, or is one set holding on a little better than another and going down more slowly? And that is indeed the case. So I ran all these charts from December 23rd until February 2nd. So essentially the start of the NBA season until today. We could see this is base cards. I started with base cards. Let me zoom in so the comments don't yell at me. The primary Prism PSA 10 is down 40%. Yikes. It started off just under $1,000 and is all the way down to 580. What a fall from grace. Now, I mean, we could get into what's causing this. Like I said before, a lot of the money is shifting over to the other players. The Pelicans haven't been playing that great. Zion's been playing pretty good. But regardless, there's a bunch of different reasons why this could potentially be happening. The God's honest truth is no one really knows. We're just looking at what's going on and purely speculating on what we think is happening. I'm not 100% sure that the reason this is happening is because money is shifting to the older players. I don't know that's what's happening. I'm just assuming that it is. I look at it as there is a subsection of money. There is a bag of money that is set aside in the world for sports cards. Typically, in the past, most of that money out of the bag was spent on modern. Well, it's the same bag of money, the basketball bag of money or whatever it is, and more people are dipping into that bag of money for older stuff. So there's less money in the bag for modern, hence the pullback. That's the theory. No one knows if it's true or not. There's no way to tell that for sure, but that's my best educated guess on what's happening here. But anyway, Zion's down a whopping 40% since the season started. Just a monster hit. His Optic base, what I would regard as probably the second most popular set, and based on sales numbers, that's also true. Well, actually, Mosaic's a little bit ahead of it, but pop count wise, Optic is down 36% and Mosaic is down 36%. Now, Optic has a higher selling point at 300 down to 200, and the Mosaic was at 240 down to 150. Both those are pretty tough grades. The Mosaic base, one of the toughest grades there is, probably besides Mosaic Silver. Mosaic are just ridiculously tough grades. The interesting one, so we have base Prism down 40%, and then the next two, Optic and Mosaic, down 36 and 36. So right in line with basically everything else, so within the margin of the 40% number for Prism. The interesting one is if we go down to these bottom two, which is Select. Select has been getting a ton of buzz the last month or so in the modern world as being the up and comer. Now, Select is the content creator darling. It hits all the boxes. Hobby only product, multiple different variations, extremely low pop counts, silvers, variation, whole 9 yards. It has it all. Everybody in the hashtag hobby / whatever, investors, collectors, YouTube, IG people, everybody loves to talk about Select. Well, and I like Select too. It's a great product, awesome looking cards, low pop counts. It check marks all the boxes. Well, it's an established brand. It's not some new like Mosaic, fly by night thing. Select's been around for a while now. And it gets a lot of hobby respect. A lot of people in the game respect Select a ton. A lot of newer people, I think, struggle with Select, like brand new to the game, because there's Concourse, there's Premier, there's Courtside. What the hell does all this mean? Why is there 3 separate rookie cards in the same set for a guy? This is confusing. I'm just going to go buy some more Prism. But the numbers show us Select is holding its own. Now, I did not include Courtside on here because those are so hard to find. I did not think it was necessarily worthwhile, but I did include Concourse and I did include Premier level. Concourse Zion is only down 28% and is now firmly, of the base cards, number 2 in price. Now, it had actually been in front of Optic as well, but a lot of people still considered Optic number 2. But in this case, Select is far and away the number 2 price now, whether you're talking about Premier or Concourse. But the Concourse only being down 28%, while everything else is down 40 and 36%, is kind of a big deal. The interesting one is Premier. This is the Premier, and this is the mid-tier of Select stuff. You can see population count on Concourse is just under 1,700. Premier is just under 500. It is only down 13%. That's a huge difference. And the starting price was $400. The ending price is $350. That is a very, very small change when you consider his Prism base is down 40%. And the gap between the Premier and the Concourse has also widened. One of the biggest hobby gripes is that Premier does not carry the monetary value that it should when it comes to Premier versus Concourse. At least with Zion, this appears to be happening. So why is that? Could be because of a lot of people talking about him Select more lately, or just more people finally starting to realize the different variations, the levels, etc. with Select. But Select Premier is definitely hanging on a lot better than all the other cards. So does this mean that we should really be looking at Select Premier for our other stars? Most people in the hobby would say yes, but now the numbers had never backed it up before. Premier and Concourse were always very close together. You can see it. Their starting averages when the season started, Premier was 400, Concourse was 380. That's only a $20 difference. Fast forward a little over a month and a half, and it's an $80 difference between Premier and Concourse. That's not nothing, especially when the cards are in a downslide anyway. So if you're going out, and let's expand this beyond Zion, we're going to talk about Ja really quickly in this video as well. But if you're looking to get in on Luka, Ja, Tatum, whatever, pick your NBA player, Premier level Select, and I've said this for a while, but like I said, the math is now, the charts and the graphs are starting to back this up. Whereas before, everyone always talked about it, but the numbers never reflected it. Now maybe they're starting to. Let's hop over and look at silvers. So we have Mosaic Silver down 37%. Optic Hollow down 40%. Prism Silver down 42%. Oh boy. Wow. The day the season started, a Zion Prism Silver was $6,000. Today they go for $3,600. Man, what a bloodbath on that. Ouch. Ouch. But once again, we look at the bottom two, Concourse Silver. Now, here's the trick with this. These population counts are really low. So look at the number of sales. 59 Prism Silvers sold, only 5 Concourse Silvers and 5 Premier levels sold. The Concourse are down 18%. The Premier level are only down 10%. Again, almost identical from the base. 13% on the base, 10% on the silver. The silver has held value better than the base Concourse. Base Concourse down 28%. Silver Concourse down 18%. So the Select Silvers, as we dig deeper into Select, are holding price better on this downturn than the other 3 sets. Like I said, that Prism Silver number is a bloodbath. That Optic Hollow number is no picnic either, and neither is the Mosaic Silver. Let's look at Ja really quick, and we're just going to look at Ja base cards. I did not do this for Silvers too. Now, Ja's a little trickier because he actually went up right after the season started, then pulled back because he got hurt, and has recently got a little bit of a spike, and then a little bit of a pullback again. So Ja went up. This top green line here is his PSA 10 Prism. So he went up right after the season started because he came out like gangbusters, had that monster game, leveled off. Got hurt, right here, dipped down, then it leveled off. Then he came back, it went up, went down, went up, and is now down sliding again with the rest of Modern. So he got a little bump because he came back from injury, stayed there for a minute, and then the boat anchor that is Modern pricing right now wrapped its chain around his ankle and is now pulling him down too. So these numbers get a little bit weird because he shot up right after the season started. But I wanted to use the same dates just for comparison purposes. So Ja base Prism on the season is down 6% from the start. That's kind of been of a roller coaster ride. I would argue he's probably actually, if I just shift this chart back 2 days, he's down quite a bit more. Optic down 14%. Mosaic base down 21%. So we see the same thing. Prism's hanging a little tougher than the other two, but let's go down to Select. Select Concourse is actually up 4%, and Premier is up 48%. There has been a monster price correction on Premiers when it comes to Ja Morant. So once again, $325 to $349 at the start of the season. Concourse versus Premier. $25 difference. It was a $20 difference on Zion. Now, it's almost $180 difference. So Premier is really, at least for the 2019 class, is really starting to get the love that everyone always threw on it the last few months to a year, but the numbers never backed it up. So it looks like, at least for the 2019 class, that Select Premier is really starting to gain ground. And I think it's something to consider if you're looking to invest in 2019 guys, to go look at Select Premier for whatever it is that you're going to buy. Now, I have no Select Premier from 2019. I really wanted a Ja, and I was trying to buy it, while these prices kept going up. All his other prices were going down because this is when he got hurt, and I kept saying, perfect time to sneak in and get me a Select Premier Ja, but his prices kept going up. And I kept waiting for the dip, and the dip never came. So I guess I lose because I'm not getting in now at an all-time high. So this is definitely something that's worth monitoring going forward on how Premier compares to the other ones. And I just thought that it was interesting due to the major pullbacks that we're seeing across the other brands. But Select in general is hanging tougher, but Premier even more so than most. So I didn't have time today, but maybe we'll look back at 18 and see what Trey's doing, and look at 17 and see how like Tatum and Donovan Mitchell are doing on Premier. When you go farther back, the population counts on Select get a lot lower, a lot faster. So it just gets harder to make these comparisons when only like 2 cards have sold in the entire month. So that makes it a little bit trickier. You need enough data points to show it. And on Ja, we have plenty. 42 premieres have sold base, 93 concourses. On Zion, it's 87 and 42. That's a pretty decent number over a month and a half. So you could draw some conclusions off that. If only 5 had sold, that gets a little bit tougher. Now on the silvers, only 5 have sold, but we have recent sales data and they're spread out enough throughout that it gives you at least something to work with. But it makes sense because the silvers and the base usually kind of move in tandem to a degree. So that's all I had for you guys today. Hopefully we will see Modern rebound. I am in a wait and see period. I would like to make some buys, but I'm gonna hold the line for the moment and see how much farther things continue to creep down. Interesting thing, I was listening to the Card Collector 2 podcast. I assume most of you guys listen to that. If you don't, you should. They were talking about the Dallas Card Show this past weekend, which is a pretty big size card show, probably going to end up being one of the biggest ones over the last 6 months since the pandemic started. And then depending on what happens with the National, it could end up being the biggest of the year. They were saying that Luka-based prisms, you could be bought and sold easily for $1,100 cash. That's quite a bit cheaper than current eBay comps, but a lot of that's probably a product of being at the card show, playing with cash, people being a little faster and looser with stuff because of fees, deliveries, all that stuff you don't have to deal with. Sometimes you take a little bit less to not have the hassle of selling a $1,000 card on eBay and dealing with all the nonsense that goes with that. You'll take a bit of a break just to save yourself some headaches. So I get it. But $1,100 cash for a Luka base 10 PSA Prism, we haven't seen those prices in a long time. Now, current eBay comps don't reflect that. Like I said, some extenuating circumstances there. But I just took note of that when they mentioned that on the CC2 podcast. So we will see where Modern goes, but I don't see, other than the players that are like breaking out and outperforming their preseason prices, like Jokic, Sexton, etc. Modern is still trending downward, and Vintage Legends Hall of Famers set new record pricing every single day. At some point in time, that pendulum is going to swing back to Modern. It's just a matter of when, not if, in my opinion. And I don't know that, that we're going to come back here when you look at the season chart that Zion's right back up where he left off. I don't think we're getting those. I don't think they're going back to their original preseason prices, maybe some crazy playoff runs, etc. We will see what happens, but that's all I have. YouTube stuff down below, like, comments up, you know the drill. And we will catch you guys on the next one. Peace.